Hello, everyone, and welcome to our live webinar today. My name is Joy Raylick, and I'm Chief Administrative Officer with Family Source Consultants. Today, I have the pleasure of meeting with two lovely ladies, two very influential ladies, who are going to talk a little bit about a very important shared mission, and that mission is supporting young adults who are cancer. Big topic. It's a really important thing that we're talking about today. So I'd love to start out just first telling you how excited I am to be here, because this is, I think we're going to be able to kind of match our worlds really well and talk about collaboration that we all have and promote an amazing charity at the same time. So without further ado, I'm going to hand it over really quickly. I'd love to do some introductions. So Staci, if you would start with introducing yourself.
So thank you for just this wonderful charity event that you are going to be that we're sponsoring. We're so excited to be a part of that. But my name is Staci Swiderski. I am the CEO and the founder of Family Source Consultants. We have been building families now for almost 18 years through third-party arrangements, surrogacy, and egg donation. And, again, this, and we'll get more into it, the actual founding piece of what really brought Family Source, to fruition. But it really is due to, this amazing cause, really, is really what sparked it. So I don't want to get too much into it now, but we will shortly. And we'll let Megan share her introduction.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. My name is Megan Scherer, and I am the co-founder and executive director of Worth the Wait charity. So we support young adult cancer survivors who are pursuing parenthood, whatever that looks like.
Awesome. I'm trying to think of the audience that we're going to have, because we're bringing in two completely different parts of the world, right, that are all kind of joining for the same goal. So Staci, I'd love to hear a little bit more about Family Source Consultants. Would you mind going in just briefly to what we do and why we're kind of have like an investment in this charity?
Yeah, absolutely. So what we do is we assist hopeful parents throughout the world build their family through surrogacy and egg donation. And, many of those hopeful parents come to us from just so many different walks of life, whether, they've experienced cancer, themselves, and they're no longer able to carry or even, utilize their eggs, or sometimes both. We have parents who come to us where, maybe there's just unforeseen, they just don't know, it's unexplained infertility, right? So it's, we have many same-sex couples that come to us that obviously you need our help to build their family. But personally speaking, I went through infertility back in my early 20s. And so I had experienced, it was pre-cancer cells. So I was lucky enough to where it was caught very early on. But because of that, I had to have a partial hysterectomy. And so this was, again, in my very early 20s. And that eventually is what really helped launch Family Source Consultants. As my husband and I, we had to utilize a gestational carrier surrogate to build our family due to that partial hysterectomy, due to the precancer cells. Again, thank you again, Megan, for what you do. I think this is amazing. And I think it's really great to put, this approach and the spotlight on really even the younger community, because we hear so much of the older, intended parents. Maybe they've, waited, they've been very career oriented. So they've waited to start building their family, or whatever it may be. But I think it's important that the younger community also is really looked at, and that we're advocating for them as well, because I was one of them at one point, many years ago.
Yeah. And I can't even try to put myself in someone's shoes. And I've spoken with a lot of intended parents who've kind of been in a similar situation, where not only do you now have a diagnosis that you have to kind of overcome and wrap your mind around, but then once you're able to survive and you move forward, then the other issues start, then you're faced with infertility on top of it. So I really love that we have kind of an open dialogue, and we're able to bring this to light and really support others who are going through the exact same thing. So Megan, that kind of brings us directly to kind of your story. Will you tell us a little more about Worth the Wait and kind of why you started the charity?
Sure. So I'm married to my high school sweetheart, and we got married like the year after we graduated from college. And then just a few years later, my husband Mike was diagnosed with testicular cancer. And that was just not anything, obviously, that I had planned for. I always knew I wanted to be a mother. He was a little on the fence about parenthood, but I knew I was going to make that happen, eventually. And we were really lucky that Mike's oncologist counseled him on the effects of his surgery. And then he ended up having a reoccurrence and he needed chemotherapy. They talked to us about, well, this is what it's going to do to your reproductive organs and your sperm. Go ahead and bank. And that's something that, not a lot of young cancer patients are counseled on, only about 50%. So we got through all of that together. Today he is doing great. He's healthy. However, the effects of that chemo really have done a lot, a lot of effects on his body. And so when we went to start a family, we knew that we had the frozen sperm if we needed it. However, we went through many, many years of infertility treatments. We finally were able to, I was able to get pregnant with our son. And Staci, I love that we both have one boy. I think it's great. So we have that in common. And so through this process of infertility, we didn't have any insurance coverage. We ended up, saving. We got money from our parents. We did everything we could to try to have, our one miracle child. And when we got to the other side of it, we said, gosh, that was really traumatic. Like not only the cancer piece of it, but the isolation with infertility and those two things coupled together, and then the financial burden on top of it, we said, we have to do something about this. So originally, Mike and I said, maybe we could just save some money and, try to help a cancer survivor we know, try to achieve, dreams of parenthood. And then we have a friend who's an attorney, and he said, this sounds like a 501c3. This is a charity. Like, I'll set it up for you. So he set up everything for us, which we were really grateful, and kind of gave us that push of like, come on, you can do it. It can be bigger than, just your family helping. So that was 3 years ago. And we've now given financial assistance in the form of grants to 100 young adult cancer patients.
Oh, congratulations. That's amazing. That's amazing. I really feel that just, advocating for that and then watching it grow, it has to be just so rewarding, right?
It is. It absolutely is. We actually just got an invitation to a wedding of a couple that we helped. They were engaged and they wanted to create embryos before her cancer treatment. And so now we're going to go to their wedding next month. So we're really excited about that.
Oh, that's great. That's great. And I think, it's definitely talking about it more. That we still have a long way to go, right? For insurances to cover IVF and infertility treatments, even, medications, whatever it may be, every little bit helps, right? And so, providing what you do is, oh my gosh, like you said, the rewards are just, they're amazing. And when you know you're helping even one person, it's pretty rewarding.
Yeah. And I think the biggest piece of it is the hope. So we give grants to people who are newly diagnosed and, need to bank sperm or want to create embryos or freeze their eggs, if they have the ability to do that. But then also on the family building side, we give grants to help with surrogacy. And we've helped a few couples with sperm donation or egg donation. So it's in adoption as well. So we just want it to be as inclusive as possible. And at the beginning, I honestly didn't know much about gestational carriers. Yeah. And as I've learned more, I just think it's such an amazing way to, have that family that you would originally plan for before your cancer diagnosis or whatever the other, health concern is. It just gives a lot of hope, and everybody just deserves that hope.
Yeah, I agree. And, like you said, that hope really, when it can give a family or a person just when they have that help, the help to the resources. Because sometimes, it could be just your one resource that makes all the difference because they couldn't financially afford to move forward and to have that support. Because like you said, pulling money from all different, family or credit cards or whatever, sometimes you cap yourself. So when you can have those resources come from different grants, that is really what can make the difference of somebody really fulfilling their dreams of having their family. So it's pretty amazing, and we're really excited to be a part of this in September.
Yeah, I love how beautifully you all spoke about like the complexities of everything that we're kind of combating in infertility today. There's a lot more than meets the eye. I think when individuals hear about infertility, they just think, okay, well, you're going to get some testing done and then you're going to move forward. And just the overwhelming amount of tasks and things to think about that both of you have brought up. I love that we're able to touch on that and kind of use this charity to alleviate some of that for people. So thank you, Megan, so much. We're probably going to say thank you 600 times during this webinar. But Staci just kind of hinted at it. The one of the main reasons we're here today is to talk about this event that's happening in September. So Megan, I'm going to hand it over to you and let you tell us all about this next event.
Yes, we are so grateful to have your support as our trophy sponsor for Jeep Off Cancer. So it is a very unique event. I live in Columbus, Ohio, and the event will take place about 45 minutes to an hour from where we live in Columbus. It's kind of out in some farm country, and Mike and I have a good friend who is very passionate about Jeep Wranglers. And he unfortunately lost his first wife to breast cancer. And he obviously is a huge supporter of Worth the Wait. And he said, hey, let's come up with a really fun and creative fundraiser for the charity. So this is a Jeep obstacle course. So he has 37 acres of formerly farmland that he and some friends have turned into this amazing Jeep obstacle course. So for people with Jeep Wranglers, it's going to be an amazing, really adrenaline charged event, but it's also going to be great for people who are passionate about the cause of, helping young cancer survivors pursue parenthood. So there will be a Jeep show and shine. So if you haven't heard of that before, it's kind of like a car show. So there's different models of Jeep Wranglers. And so we'll have trophies and judging. It'll be like a people's choice judging situation for first, second, and third place for all the Jeeps that participate in the show and shine. We're also going to have live music. We have 3 different food trucks planned, and then we're going to have a kids area. And then, of course, the main thing is going to be this off-roading, adventure course. People can drive their Jeep Wranglers through. So we're really excited. We think nobody is doing an event like this.
I was just going to say, I think this is the first we've ever heard of that. Actually, Kari had brought it to our attention, and she's really into Jeeps. Her and her husband are, and found that, and this is really neat. It's such a fun event too. We're excited. We're really excited for it to get all dirty and muddy and all for an awesome cause.
Yeah. And honestly, like I'd never been in a Jeep Wrangler, but of course my husband was like, we need to get a Jeep Wrangler. So now we have a Worth the Wait Jeep. And when we filmed our kind of promo reel video, we got to go out, and that was my first time like going over some of the rocks, and it was wild. I'm not like a huge thrill seeker, but I was really pumped up after it.
That's what I was going to ask, Megan, if you were going to partake in all of the activities you just listed.
Yes. And actually, our son, who's 7, he was in the back seat. I rode in the back seat so I could like hold his hand in case he got scared. But he was in his car seat back there bumping around.
You're probably loving it.
Yeah.
Well, it's going to be really exciting. And again, such an amazing cause. And we hope this continues for many, many years and just, grows larger and larger, and we can, be a part of it as well and continue to support so many that are affected.
Yeah, thank you. And we're really looking forward to, using this platform of the event to share more about what young adult cancer survivors have to do, to be able to have a family, no matter the way that they choose to do it. So actually one of our grant recipients, that's what we call the young adult survivors who we help, she's coming and she actually has a little baby. So she's going to be sharing her story, and then there's a lot of other grant recipients that are attending that want to just mingle with the crowd and share in a more casual.
I think that's great, and having the final story, right there. Here is the baby. It's so rewarding, and that in itself gives so much hope, because then it's so much more realistic to those who are in the very early stages, like you had mentioned, and because there's, and Joy, you had touched on it too. It's like, especially what we do here at the agency. It's like we know where to go. The next step. Okay, we've completed this. We've checked the box. We know what the next step is, as far as surrogacy and egg donation, the medical piece, the legal piece, and all that. But behind the scenes, when you are the actual hopeful parent, that's just the small bits of it, right? It's the emotional aspect. It's the financial. Is this even going to work? And it's the challenge within that itself, as a couple going through infertility, or just trying to have a child, it's not the most glorifying, right? So
Yeah,
this having somebody there that can that's gone through it and has their child, it just gives that little extra push of this is realistic.
it really does, because infertility, no matter the reason, is so isolating. And when you can see a success story and what it looks like to get to the other side of it, it just brings you so much more encouragement and hope.
It does, and hopefully people don't give up on that. Just hang on to that hope, because we always tell our parents as well, our hopeful parents, that we will make this happen. You may hit some bumps in the road, but we're by your side, and we're going to do what we can do to make sure that this is a success. So.
Yeah, and it sounds like you have a really good recipe here to kind of bring as much attention to this cause as possible, because I think this is going to be like a very loud, fun, energetic way to kind of talk about something that's not really fun at all. I mean, that's not really something that gets a lot of attention because it's maybe a little taboo, or it's hard to talk about. It's hard to bring this forward. So in partnering that with this really amazing, fun event, you're giving others like a platform to kind of speak about it freely and openly. So I think that's wonderful. And I know that we at FSC, we're the trophy sponsor this year, so we're excited to be a part of it. But Megan, can you tell us how others can possibly get involved and help support?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're selling tickets right now to Jeep Off Cancer on our website. So if you go to worththewaitcharity.com and click on Jeep Off Cancer, or you can just Google Jeep Off Cancer and we're the first thing that comes up, you can purchase your tickets there. I'm also in the process of setting up just like a main donation page. If you can't make it to the event, but you feel really passionate about the cause and supporting Worth the Wait, we'll have a way to do that as well.
Yeah. And Staci, kind of what is your biggest hope when you're partnering with charities like this, when we're out sponsoring? What do you hope to gain from this kind of event? And I know now the start of our beautiful relationship with Worth the Wait.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, it's really the inspiration behind the cause, and to continue to give hope to those hopeful parents who just may be at the end of their rope, or maybe they're not familiar with the options that are out there, and so yeah, I really think it's just to inspire them to don't give up on being a parent someday, and there are grants and people out there that are willing to help. But it's really, and just the education piece, I think it's so important, because people just don't know what they don't know. And when we can advocate for that, it can really go a long way. So really, I would say at the end of the day, one word is inspiration.
Yeah, I love that. And that kind of ties into, I always like to end every webinar with your best bit of advice for our listeners. And I think that's a great little start. Did you want to add anything else to that, Staci? Advice for our listeners?
For our listeners, I would say ask questions, ask lots of questions, and don't feel ashamed to do that. I feel that the infertility space, it's pretty scary, but we want these hopeful parents to feel that it's a safe space, and to just open up a little bit. It's scary and it's hard, but once you do, that can just really open a door to so many different opportunities and solutions, really. So ask questions, ask away.
That's always my bit of advice. So you took that right out of my mouth.
Yeah, right.
Megan, I'll turn it over to you. What is your best bit of advice for anyone who's listening?
I think it would be to seek connection. I have so many conversations with people who are just at the beginning, they're just creating embryos, and hearing other people's stories and learning how they came to form their family, I think is so critical. I'm a big believer, like when we get people who are requesting assistance from Worth the Wait, if they have similar diagnoses, I'm always like, hey, do you want to meet this person? We just randomly got an application from somebody with the exact same diagnosis as you. And when you're young and you have cancer, like thinking back when Mike was, in the trenches of it, like, I didn't know anyone else in their 20s with cancer. And now I know so many people in their 20s with cancer, but making those connections is so valuable, whether it's, getting a mentor. There's lots of nonprofits. So reach out to me, please. If you are a young cancer patient, you're looking for that type of connection. There's some really great charities that we work with, and I'm happy to make introductions, but I think that connection is so helpful just to, maintain some good mental health, because it can be such a taxing experience.
Yeah, that's great advice. I think the support it's really everything, for sure.
Yeah. Well, Megan, you are definitely a kindred spirit, and I think a lot of the things that you've said today resonated. Things that I've said over the last 3 years here at FSC, and just kind of how we operate and think. We are always here. We're always available. Please reach out, ask questions, get your advice, find those connections. Call us and just chit chat. We don't mind. So thank you so much for joining us today and sharing this amazing experience. I'm ecstatic to see the photos. I'm a little jealous I won't be there driving a Jeep myself, but that's okay. I will live vicariously through our attendees who are going to be there. Like Megan said, if anyone has or wants more information about Worth the Wait charity, you can go directly to their website. You can Google Worth the Wait or Jeep Off Cancer to learn more about the specific event. If you have any questions about cancer or infertility or surrogacy or egg donations, or Worth the Wait, you're always able to go to www.familysourceconsultants.com, and we are available to help you and get you the right information, and we will connect you directly to Megan and her wonderful charity. So thank you so much again, ladies. I really appreciate both of you and the amazing things that you're doing for individuals in this industry.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Megan, and I'll see you in a couple months.
Yes, thank you so much for your support. We really appreciate it.
Of course. Thank you.
Have a wonderful day, everyone.
Bye, everybody.